embraced by the dark, illuminated by the light. This is, of course, a forerunner for next Saturday night. You'll all be here, right? Winter solstice. Oh, my word, it's going to be over the top fabulous. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it. You have to come find out for yourself. So this is from a song that Jim Wade and I wrote. He did the music. That's his thing. And we did the words together. And it's called The Song of Light. It's bless the darkness that enfolded me. Bless the light that shows me I am free. I am ready for the dawn of day as I'm warmed by every sunlit ray. So we're approaching the winter solstice, just another few days, and our readiness to move from darkness to light increases. You know, like, it's so dark, it's so cold. And people who live in places where there's snow, anybody ever heard of that? We didn't have too much the other day, did we? But it was fun. It was just a little bit of a harbinger of what's to come, and I love that. But those of us who do live in cold places, and there are people in Minnesota, you know, and they have it a whole lot worse. But can you imagine day after day, night after night, after it's like, I've had enough of this. You know, it's time for it to stop. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. See, that's another way that people spend their energy and their experience in darkness. And I don't want to feel alone anymore is another sense of being in the dark. But see, we don't want to rush out of the darkness. We can make friends with the darkness because it's a time of nurture. It's a time of rest and restoration. Even the little seeds that are in the ground have to be in the dark, warm, fertile soil in order to be all that they can be. Those little marine seeds. We rest, not just rest in the darkness, but we can learn, we can get wisdom, we can learn some wonderful gifts. I like the word gift better than lesson, don't you? Somebody once said, it's as difficult to get lessons out of religious scientists as it is to get the sin out of the Baptists. Oh, it's my lesson. Let's have it be a gift. How many of us have had times of being in the darkness, even what's been called historically and theologically the dark night of the soul? Everyone has been there. Maybe we didn't stay very long, but we know what it feels like to feel separate and apart from the wellspring of life, from our source itself. We feel as though nobody is there for us. We forget that we have a presence within us that is always loving and always guiding and always supporting when we're in those dark places. But those places can be very important. Significant times of just listening. You know, what is it for me to learn here? What are the gifts for me? I want to listen to those internal, subjective, negative patterns that have brought me to a place where I'm so uncomfortable. I want to move through the discomfort, and I want to be courageous enough and willing enough and wise enough to ask what those gifts are. What am I to see that I couldn't see before? How am I going to combine my energies with the great energy of the universe to show me the way? Sometimes that's a very important thing to ask in our meditative times. So show me the way, Spirit. Show me the way. I can't see it right now. It feels dark. I'm not seeing clearly. And so I don't want to rush out of the darkness. I want the restoration. I want an opportunity to go deeply and to look at those patterns that I have been ignoring. Maybe all my life. Maybe there were opportunities in the past for me to look at when I needed to look at it in order to transform some negative thinking. Because after all, we are co-creators with the infinite. And our thoughts are powerful. And our beliefs show up in our lives, don't they? We have this beautiful, loving presence that brings everything beautiful into our lives as we open ourselves to it. We have a law that we can direct. We speak our word of truth. We speak heaven rather than the contracted experience of hell. See, heaven is Uranos, that which is forever and ever expanding. Don't we want our lives to be forever and ever expanding with greater and greater good? Deeper connection with the loving people in our lives, and getting to know new people we can care about as well, who can care about us too. Having a greater experience of good, whatever we define that to be. And so it depends upon our willingness to open our hearts and our minds to accept the good that is already ours to receive. And the opposite of heaven is hell. And those are sometimes the dark places, because hell is that which is held in. It's contraction rather than expansion. And when any of us happens to be in a place where we're not experiencing the fullness of life, and we don't like what we're experiencing, it's very wise to take a look to see, what have I been believing that's shown up in my life? And the best way I know how to figure that out is to look at my life. Do I have loving people in my life? Gosh, I must have a pretty good mental equivalent of love. Are all my needs met? Do I have all of the prosperity in every area, all the good, all the joy, all the fun? Do I have that? Is it showing up in my life? I must have a pretty good spiritual prototype of what abundance is. Am I happy in my work? Am I feeling creative in what I do, work or play? I must have a pretty good image within myself of being a co-creator with the infinite. Am I healthy? Is everything working just fine? Then I probably have a beautiful awareness deep within myself about the wholeness, the unimpeachable wholeness of this universe showing up in, through, and as me. Now, if any of those areas, and those are the 4 basic areas of human living, aren't they? If any of those areas are lacking in any way, if there's anything that needs some attention, I wish to begin by paying attention to what my belief is about it, my deep belief. And how can I find that out except allowing myself to go deeply in those sweet, silent, dark places and listen? And be willing for this transformative spirit within me to show me a new way to believe. It isn't just thinking that makes it so. It's the belief, the deeply held belief about ourselves and about our world that makes the difference. I want to look courageously at those patterns of limitation. If there's anyone here who has no patterns of limitation, I'm going to study at your feet. Because we all are still working through them. Isn't that a wonderful thing that we have the opportunity to look to see what needs to be transformed? This is a spiritual philosophy of responsibility. And I love that I am responsible. Responsibility, the ability to respond. When I notice something that's out of alignment within my life, I want to respond by bringing in the truth, which is always there, eternally there. In the middle of loneliness, there is the presence of love. The minute I turn to that, the rest of it disappears. And I feel loved. I don't have to have someone standing right next to me saying, "Oh, you're so cute and sweet, and I just love you." I can feel, and you can feel, the presence of divine love wherever you are, anywhere. It's portable because it is everywhere. How wonderful to be able to return to that place, to touch the center of peace and power that always dwells within us, and to allow the transformation to take place. when I remember that there is a light within me that glows constantly, and that I can return to it and find it. The kids already know this, don't they? They understand that there is an eternal flame within them. And when they rediscover it, they share it with their family, they share it with their colleagues. They have colleagues up there, you know. They're not just playmates. You should hear some of their conversations. That light within is so constant. When was the last time you and I really sat and felt it glowing? That brings us out of the darkness when we're finally ready to emerge. We light the candle of love, but the truth is it's already lit. And then we can share that illuminated spirit with others. This is a beautiful time of year. Divine mind brought forth all creation out of itself. Isn't it wonderful to remember that there is one life? It is the life of spirit. It is divine. It is complete. Nothing lacking, nothing missing. And we were created from it, so there's nothing lacking and nothing missing within us. We feel that way sometimes, though, don't we? Other people feel that way sometimes, don't they? And we don't say, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. We just open our hearts and hold them. We just know the truth for them. Our practitioners know this. Our practitioners in training know this. They're already aware that they can look at you and see the light of the divinity shining forth, and they're not going to believe anything you tell them about how awful your life is. They're not going to believe it. And you don't want them to. They're going to be open-hearted and compassionate with you, for sure. But we teach our practitioners to listen with 3 ears. These 2, right here, where we know that the person may be hurting or may be confused. And we hold them tenderly in our hearts while we listen to what seems to be going on temporarily in their lives. But there is a 3rd ear right here, the ear of the heart, which hears only the truth. An eye of the heart as well, that sees only that person's divinity. You would not want to go to a practitioner who didn't see with the eye of the heart and hear with the ear of the heart, because the truth is what you wish to return to, yes? And that's what we do for each other. We don't have to be licensed practitioners or practitioners in training in order to practice this beautiful science of mind. And it always has to do with seeing what's true beyond the error. That's a lot of self-responsibility, isn't it? And not everybody's up for it yet. But I have no doubt as we awaken, as the entire world awakens to its spiritual magnificence, the day is coming where we can look at each other and behold the divinity there. We can see each other's infinite possibilities, just seeing them, beholding the presence of the divine within, and seeing that infinite possibilities exist for them. That is sharing the light so beautifully without even a word. You don't have to say, oh, buck up. Let's just come out of that darkness. No, just be the light that the people temporarily in that circumstance may have forgotten. We're here to remind each other. We can remind each other every day without a word. So you and I have the power to illuminate our lives. Are there times you don't feel very powerful? Are there times that you feel as though you're at the effect of circumstances or those people or that corporation or agency? It's never been true, but it can feel as though it is. You're never at the effect of anything out there except to the degree that we allow ourselves to be. I am responsible. I am responsible for my thoughts. I am responsible for my feelings. I'm responsible to know who you are, especially when you forget. And would you like to be responsible to know who I am whenever I forget? Yes. This is a glorious opportunity every day for us to know what's so beyond what appears to be so. Imagine that you had a cabin in the mountains. Wouldn't that be fun? Maybe some of you do. Invite me. A cabin in the mountains that you visit rarely. And so when you're not there, you board it up. You don't want anything coming in. All the windows are boarded up. If you went in at that time, you'd find that it was dark. And then when you're ready to go and prepare it for a week's vacation, you would take the boards off the windows, and that cabin, which appeared so dark, would suddenly be light. Oh, what did you do? You took the boards off the windows. And that's what we get to do in our own lives, metaphorically, is to remove whatever we have put up, because it is we who have put up the barriers. And as soon as we understand that, and we stop pointing fingers at others and blaming other people, oh, I get to take my own boards down. Then we are, again, illuminated and remembering that we live and move and have our being in this divine presence. I love this teaching. I love implementing it in my life. I love helping others do the same, don't you? This is our opportunity to let Spirit shine through us so brightly that we can enjoy the darkness, appreciate the gifts that it gives to us, awaken to the infinite possibilities that are ours and that belong to every sentient being. Solstice. Another few days, dark, dark, dark. And then the light begins to appear. I have to give you another commercial. Don't miss Saturday night. Really, the music is over the top. The interfaith presenters are some people we've never even had before. It's going to be glorious. So whatever plans you may have made, just change them. Come together in a consciousness of embracing the darkness, reflecting on it, transforming what needs to be transformed, and living a glorious, illuminated life. And we can start that today. Will you say with me, I honor all paths to the divine. We evolve spiritually. We advance from shadow to light. And so, my beloveds, beginneth our lesson. Okay, thank you. Thank you.